will do you some good. Yes.
Temperature. As it gets warmer during the summer.
Yes. Ideally about 75 to 80 degrees. I do mine if it's real cool in the sun, like the last few days I went.
During the summer, should I do this in my basement?
Excellent. I do mine in my computer room. I have a computer room. I keep air conditioned very lightly, so my computers don't get too hot, and I circulate the air and everything, and it stays under about 90 degrees, and that's okay. Now you're going to shorten your brewing period. You might only want to do it about 20 hours, 18 hours at 90 degrees. All right, you're going to start going anaerobic.
What kind of bag was that?
This is a bag that you get from, it's a paint strainer bag.
Okay.
Put a paint strainer, and the best ones right now are coming from Lowe's. Like I said, Walmart would carry them. There's some others. I used to use pantyhose for everything, but we discovered in looking at the microscope that if you filtered the water through the pantyhose, you lost a lot of fungus. Fungus is bigger than the pantyhose holes. You need mesh. Yeah.
Wide mesh.
Yeah, I don't look as good in mesh, but yeah. But so this is a good bag. These holes are much bigger, and so your fungus comes through this pretty good. The pantyhose will do in a bind. It lets the microbes as far as bacteria right out. Doesn't really hurt anything. But a bag that's got a little bit bigger mesh is a heck of a lot more useful. I've seen people use pillowcases. You probably lose a lot.
Is there any reason why you'd want to grow more fungus than bacteria or more bacteria than fungus?
For what we're doing for annuals, tomatoes, peppers, everything but brassicas, they don't seem to care. Broccoli don't care one way or the other. Actually, believe it or not, the bacteria is probably a more beneficial mix. But if you're going to plant trees, you're going to grow fruit trees, you're going to do deciduous plants, plants that lose their leaves and come back, but they're perennial. Evergreen plants, they're much more fungal based. And think about it this way. Somebody gave me this explanation that made good sense, so I stole it. Fungus is a very long-term growing plant. It grows for decades. So do trees. Grass is annual. Tomatoes are annual. Annual plants have to get out there, get that bacteria, whatever's beneficial to them, get it done, and they're dead. So it makes sense that deciduous, woody trees and things would have a much better relationship, a much better marriage to fungus than it would bacteria. Whereas annuals and things that die every year or come back even, bacteria does a pretty good job for it. So there's a mixture always. It's not 100%, but that makes sense to me. There's a very good explanation of why the big trees and things are much happier with fungus than they are with special mycorrhizae fungus. Mycorrhizae collects nitrogen and gives it to the plant. If you got enough mycorrhizae on them, you don't need fertilizer. They'll supply their own. He steals carbon. The plant gets sunshine. It builds its stores. It lets the fungus steal some of the carbon, the sugars, in exchange for some protein, which we call nitrogen. And it's a symbiotic relationship, and everybody's happy. If you've ever put out Austrian peas, for instance, and you didn't inoculate them, you get a very poor crop. Once you inoculate them one time, those funguses and everything are in there from then on. The mycorrhizae deal, and you buy it in the bag. You know that. I did Australian peas this year for the first time. I got 10 times more than I did for the vetch and things last year because I did not inoculate my soil this year. I did.
So if you do that one time, it's in the ground.
Unless you burn it out with synthetic fertilizer or herbicides and pesticides. If you're using natural stuff, you don't have to keep doing it. Those guys survive even if they don't have the vetch there to live on to the next season. They live on other things. Yes, you don't have to have it.
So for the compost bag in there, if you don't have, say in your mulch pile, you don't see any of the white fungus, can you use a pinch of that mycorrhizal fungi?
No, and here's why. You can put mycorrhizae in there, but mycorrhizae drowns. It doesn't do well in liquid. It'll last an hour or two, but it can't make it. So you're better off either get powdered mycorrhizae, which is now easy to buy. Cargill has one.
We have it here.
Or put it in the liquid right when you're going to pour it out. My suggestion now is you sprinkle it and get it around, immediately water it in. Now, it's got to get to the root. It only has a short life if it's not on the roots. So by all means, the best thing to use mycorrhizae is when you're planting, right in the root hole. Then you're there. Okay, when you plant the beans, that's why you inoculate the bean. You get this little powder and you shake all your beans and they're all covered in this black powder. That's all fungus spores. And that's what you want when you stick it in the ground. Then it's not. Anybody else about anything? Yes, sir.
Applying.
Say?
Applying after it's mixed.
Yes, sir.
Which is hose-in sprayer?
Hose-in sprayer, take all the filters out because you want the fungus to get through. I like, and I think they have, and if they don't, the best I've found is a thing called a Gilbert. They make cheap plastic ones, and they make solid brass ones. And the solid brass one even comes with interchangeable nipples on the front so you can vary the amount. And it's got 10 different settings, from like 5 tablespoons to a gallon to 1. Or you take the teaspoon one and it goes from 5 or 10 teaspoons down to 1. So you can really specialize. It's brass, it'll last you forever. Just take care of it. If your container goes out, it's a very standard bottle that you can replace. There's a bunch of real cheapies that do okay, but they only got a 16-to-1 ratio, and you're very limited in what you're going to get out in your ratios. I like mine to vary. Now, having said that, if you might have to refilter this to get it through some spreaders. The other thing is a pump-up sprayer. And the best way is what I do. I got a bucket and a cup, and I pour it on the plants because I'm only doing small gardens. Now, if I was doing fields, I had a man here that couldn't stay, that bent my brain for an hour because he couldn't be here for this, but he wanted to know how he was going to do acreage of grass with compost tea. That's a very different thing than what we're doing. Good news about this, incidentally, is you can't burn anything with it. If you want to use it straight, go ahead. If you want to mix it with 10 gallons of water, go ahead. Remember that the water always gets this question. The water is not a dilution. Someone always says, well, how much do I dilute the compost tea? None. Or 100 gallons. You're not diluting. Let's try it another way. I tell you that this bucket will cover, let's do this, 5,000 square feet. Okay? I don't care how much water you mix with. Don't leave the 5,000 square feet. Keep running around and you've put all that water in that area, and guess what you've done? You've put 5 gallons of bacteria on that 5,000 square feet. So that's not a dilution, it's a carrier. It's a way to get it out because it's hard to take 5 gallons and spread it over an acre even. It's virtually, if you put it with 50 gallons of water and just drive your tractor around it, carry your spreader, well, you've covered that 5,000 feet with that 50 gallons. You've got every bug that was in there out there. And it really is better for them in some way. Do it really early in the morning, very late at night, because believe it or not, a lot of these guys are very UV sensitive. They're not made to be above ground in bright sunshine. They die. It takes them about 20 minutes to get encysted, they call it, get where it's safe. So early in the morning, late in the evening.
Just before a rain.
Yeah, great for the rains, wonderful. Or, that, again, early in the morning, especially on damp mornings, your plants, folks, I guess you know this, get all their goodies pretty much in the first few hours of daylight. There's things called stomata on the bottom of the leaf, and it opens and closes. It respires, carbon dioxide goes in, oxygen comes out, and unfortunately it also loses water. So the lower time they have to be open, the better off the plant is, especially in dry areas. You put that out daybreak, especially spraying under your leaves, and they get all the goodness taken in almost immediately. So that is by far the best time to spray this stuff. Any time's better than no time. Drenching the ground, you can't use too much. I do both. I spray mine a lot because I'm lazy and it's easy to do. But occasionally I do soak the ground of each plant. I try to mix it different every time. Everybody says, what's the formula? Diversity is the formula. Don't use the same horse manure every time. Don't use the same compost bag every time. Don't use the same worm castings. Worms do a different job. You know, you take a worm casting and the people don't realize, put it in a plastic bag and sit it in the sun when it's 92 tomorrow, and you've killed most of the goodness of the worms. A lot of these places, and I'm looking here because I can say this very safely, a lot of these places leave all their plastic bags sitting out in the sun. How much microbes do you think's alive in that bag when it's gotten to 160 degrees for 3 weeks?
Zero.
Zero. Because at 150 is what we bring compost piles up to sterilize it. Or we're sterilizing the soil we're using. This is not one of the few places, a lot of them have gotten smarter. But you don't want to go buy real good, especially compost. It doesn't seem to hurt the fertilizer so bad because fertilizer's already been heated. The goodness is in there, it's still got the nitrogen. But for living things like mulch, living things like worm casting, living things like living mulches, they don't need to be sitting out on a pallet in the sunshine. You're killing them. This is a living world. Like I said, we're microbe farmers. If you grow the soil right, any plant that'll grow there will get what it needs. Everybody says, well, how do you fertilize your tomatoes as opposed to your watermelons. And the truth is I don't. I do them all the same way. If I've got my soil back to life and as healthy as it can be, that plant will